Bonjour ni hao, and welcome to the GaymeBoyz channel. I'm Johnny.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're here with Disney Plus One. Hey, this is something that we've been talking about for a while on the channel, about watching movies on Disney Plus that some of us haven't seen before. And Kyle's never seen Lilo and Stitch.
I've never seen it. I keep hearing about it. I keep hearing about Ohana. And you know what? I want to find out about this Ohana.
So for this, we thought that we would talk about what Kyle thinks about the movie before, then we will watch it, and then we will come back and give you follow-up post-mortem feeling discussion. So what do you know about the movie?
All I know really is that it takes place on an island. I believe Lilo is...
Yes.
Lilo is the... Is he a dog? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh, this is so exciting. Okay, so this is fun because you'll then remember what you said about the movie and then be like, oh my gosh, I was so wrong about it.
Was he a dog or not? We'll find out.
It is, I will say this before the movie, Stitch is considered in Disney fandom to be a dog. Like, he's always grouped with Disney dogs.
Wait, Lilo is the girl.
Stitch, yes.
Wait.
Lilo's the girl, Stitch is
yes.
this. Stitch is blue.
Stitch is the puppy dog.
Alright, so we are gonna go eat some pad thai food and watch Lilo and Stitch, and we will see you on the other side of this transition.
Woo!
And we're back 90 minutes later.
Midwestern High from Kyle. Ugh. That hit me. It was funny because like it hit me in a weird way because of like how like I adopted Pilot. She's been bounced around from house to house, and like I met multiple of her fosters, and thankfully like the fosters that ended up giving her to me, they did a really good job like kind of getting her to be a dog that could be acceptable. And watching kind of the arc of the story, for me it was like watching the adoption and getting used to like a new member of the family
and Pilot becoming part of your family. It's a very, I forget how hard this movie hits me, and I think it's because it doesn't feel like a Disney movie. It feels like a Pixar movie in terms of unconventional characters. Think about WALL-E, or think about all of those, or Inside Out, like all of these movies where or Monsters Inc., like all of these non-traditional characters telling a very heartwarming story. And at this time in 2002, like it felt very ahead of its time for Disney.
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking about just before it started, how this was kind of a different movie for them, from going away from like Pocahontas and going away from, I think, what was the other movie you said?
Hunchback.
After
the Disney Renaissance, and you had that string of kind of movies that were not declining, but Hercules was in there, but they weren't as popular as, or financially successful as the first.
And this, like, watching this movie is so different. Like, I actually didn't recognize it as a Disney movie for a while. Really? Like, the intro took a really long time, but, like, just the pacing of it was very different. And, I appreciate that because, like, usually when I think of a Disney movie, or at least, the old Disney movies, it was
traditional Disney films.
Like, there's always a pace to it. And this was just, like, this was its own pace. And I really appreciated that.
It's such, I don't know. I was telling Kyle when I was showing him all of the Stitch merchandise now that he understands it. I was walking through why Stitch is important to me, and I was reminding of, just, if you don't know, that I was adopted, and so adoption and found family, in the same way that, like, Pilot touches you in a very real way, like, it just, this notion of needing to belong, and how very real and vulnerable Lilo is as a character, between being like, it's that scene where she's like, this is my family, we're small, you want to be part of our family, and he leaves, and she's like, I'll remember you, and that is crushing.
Oh my god. When he goes off into the forest and he looks at the 2 pages from the Ugly Duckling book, and they're like, well, why are you here? And he's like, I'm lost.
Oh,
oh god.
And then they hit to comedy, which is the weirdest pacing. So, like, when you're talking about pacing in the movie, you get this great pacing, and then you're like, oh, now I have weird comedy scenes with the aliens, which I couldn't even tell you, besides Gantu, who the other two aliens are. Like, I'm like, skinny alien with one eye and bigger alien with 4 eyes.
Who's not a drag queen.
Who cares about... There's a lot of jokes. Go back and listen when she's like... He's like, you're ugly. And she's like, I'm pretty. And she like combs out a wig.
She's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like the weirdest tangent in this like very real story about family. And also the very reality of the family breaking apart. Like when you hear him say like, when he says like, you have to think of Lilo, like you need her more than she needs you. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's very real at times. And then they're like, wig comedy.
Yeah.
Or montage of Elvis. And you're like, what is happening?
It's like montage of looking for a job and being completely screwed over by Stitch on a regular basis because he's a magical property.
Do you understand why I love Stitch as much as I do?
Oh my God.
You get it now?
I totally understand now.
Okay.
Like, you need to see the movie, but I understand.
You, like, get it now. Why, like I send gifts of, like, the Ohana gift sometimes, or why I always use Ohana, because it's...
No, Ohana matters. Ohana is...
You can hug
family.
Stitch.
Aww.
So, in conclusion, you recommend it?
Yes.
Yes!
Watch this movie. Especially if you don't think you're like, Disney, old Disney, whatever, it's all the same. This is different.
It's a very real sentiment, and I think that that's a great review for people who may remember Lilo and Stitch differently, as like when you watch it as a kid, you're like, this isn't funny, and you didn't realize what it was actually saying. I think if you haven't seen it, see it. If you didn't, or saw it and you didn't like it, maybe check it out again. So this has been Disney Plus One
with Kyle.
And please take a moment if you had a good time to hit like on this video. And if you're a subscriber, thank you for joining us for this awesome new video series. And
thanks.
If you are not a subscriber, we would love for you to consider taking a moment to hit that subscribe button so be notified of future Disney Plus One videos, pop culture, game, and other Disney-related content. Bye!
Bye!